still forced to be great. Tell me, was I just a trophy for you to place on a shelf? Go tell people that you know me, though you...
Hello ladies and gentlemen, the Brutal 757 is back in action tonight, as well as some birds over there. But tonight we are at Shaka's for a nice little rock show going on. I'm here with the headlining band, two members from Conquering Rome. Pleased to meet you guys.
Pleasure to see you again.
Again. State your names and what you do in the band.
I'm Fabian, I'm the drummer, do a little bit of vocals.
I'm James. I do vocals and I also play all types of weird instruments on the recordings and stuff, and yeah, so on the vocals and anything kind. Vocals / anything.
So tonight is your headlining show and the release show for your new album, To Put Aside a Grudge. I almost said To Put Aside a Grunge. To Put Aside a Grudge. How excited are you guys about that tonight?
Pretty excited.
Nice.
We got we put a lot of work into the record, and we got a lot of people excited to hear the stuff we played live.
Yeah, I agree with him.
So, about your new album, how would you compare or contrast this album to your previous work?
I feel like that it is very diverse and basically it's very diverse tone-wise, but one thing that really separates it is that we play a lot of weird instruments on this. We experiment a lot. I play organ, piano, tambourine, glockenspiel, all types of crazy instruments, not crazy, but all types of different instruments that we don't usually use on records. Previously, I'm more a fan of just everything being just guitars and drums and the record being raw, but we really wanted to make this something big and something special. So the instrumentation, and one more thing that makes it a lot different, is there are no screaming harsh vocals on this record as opposed to our previous record.
Okay, so what would you say are like some of your favorite tracks on the album that you worked on?
I think pretty much everyone in the band likes the song, the Courtney song. We've been working on that song for a while, and we were really happy with the way it came out.
I like the song At Least K-Town Has My Back because it showcases everything we have in the band in under 3 minutes. Pretty much throw all of our weapons at you. There's starts out with a cool little bass line, and there's circle pit parts, and basically something else that this record is special, something else that makes this record special to me is that you can kind of hear the indie alt-rock influence a little bit more. There is a huge influence from Weezer's Pinkerton because there's a lot of weird instrumentation in that, and also Modest Mouse because they use a whole lot of crazy cool instruments, and I love that band. And also, one big thing we took from Modest Mouse is a couple of the songs have grooves to them. They don't get as alternative as a band like Modest Mouse, but like we have those groove parts to them, and we pretty much fuse together our love for alt rock with the same pop punk stuff that we've done for a while. So yeah.
So this album, okay. Pardon me if I hit you mistake here. I believe this album, you guys are being supported by Running Around Records.
Yes.
How were you able to hook up with those guys?
I actually met Dustin at a show randomly. I'm trying to remember what show. I don't even remember what show, but I'm pretty sure it was a show in Richmond with like probably 10 kids there. And I met him there. We became friends for a while. He, over time, his musical knowledge grew. And then, before I know, I turn around and he starts a label. I never thought that my band would be on it. It wasn't like a it wasn't one of the first things that came to mind because we haven't even really been like shopping to labels too hard at this point. But they reached out to us. They're willing to help us, and we really appreciate those dudes. It's someone named Dustin and someone named Ben. They're two of the nicest guys ever. Both go to VCU, and we appreciate what they do for us.
Yeah, it's really nice to have people dedicated to supporting bands in the scene, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Not I guess, I know.
Especially people that aren't from the scene.
I know. Okay, so now on to the band yourselves. So how would you guys like personally describe your music? Because there's lots of people out there who say you're like this or you're like that, but I want to know from you guys yourselves.
We hit a lot of different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
We make music that we feel like making, whether it's fast-paced punk stuff or just groovy, chill stuff. Some fancy stuff.
So you just don't limit yourselves?
No, not at all.
We write whatever we feel like, really.
Yeah, pretty much. It also changes by the record. We slightly reinvent ourselves every record, but we don't do it to the point where you don't know who it is. The passion, the lyricism will always be there. The melodies and the catchy choruses and catchy lyrics, those things will always be there. And we just change our musical sound every once in a while.
So this leads me to this next question. So would you guys say that you guys have matured as a band throughout your tenure?
Yes, definitely. When we first started, our main objective was we wanted our friends to mosh. And now we really don't care about that. When we started, we looked up a lot to bands like Set Your Goals Before You're Strong. And those are bands who do something similar to us and do the whole pop punk thing. And they're heavy on the double kick, and people who are into metalcore and hardcore can get into them. They were huge influences when we first started, and then as we kind of got to know each other and really know what we like about music, we started kind of going back to our more punk influences. But over top of our punk influences, I would even say the alternative ones. So it's a mix of all those different things.
So next up, tours. Do you have any tours or stuff planned in support of this album?
Yes, we have a tour planned this summer that we haven't announced yet, but we will announce soon. And we're probably going through the South and coming back up. We're probably going down South first, then coming back up through the Midwest, then doing a date or two up north, and then coming back home. So, and unfortunately, we really wanted to make it to the West Coast this summer, but we weren't able to do that. But we're making the most of it, and we should see a lot of our friends in the South, Midwest, and Northern East Coast really soon.
I mean, so would you guys say you have like a lot of people who are actually not from around here who listen to your music and say they enjoy your stuff?
Yeah, we're not the biggest band ever. We're no Nickelback, but there's people who live outside the state and are super passionate about our music, and it's always catches us in shock, especially because we're not on any big label or anything. We're just doing it all kind of DIY right now with this DIY label, and we're getting support. We're going to shows outside of state. People know all the lyrics to our songs, and we're just like, how is this happening? But yeah, we're slowly over time, we're spreading the word of the band.
So so if I'm not mistaken, this is actually not really your first tour. If I recall, not too long ago, you guys and another band, Accident Prone, did a tour along the East Coast. So like, what were some of your favorite experiences from that?
Favorite experiences from that was, one thing I really enjoyed is that I booked most of the tour myself. I've never booked a 12-day tour before, and it turned out more successful than most of my peers' tours. And that's not because like I'm the best at booking or anything. It's because honestly a lot of venues are shutting down across the country, so people are stuck with super DIY venues and house shows, and they're playing in front of 5 and 10 people. But I worked my butt off and made friends via social media and made sure that at least 25 kids would be at like every show, and for the most part like it was very successful for our first tour that long, and I'm stoked to see everybody again next time we go back around.
Well, what about you? What were some of your favorite experiences from the tour?
Well, I mean, it was my first tour that I've ever been on, so it's just a learning experience. It was really fun for me because I finally got to do something I've been trying to do. Being in different places, different stages, like that kind of it brings a certain feeling that you just don't get when you're playing hometown all the time. And when you're on someone else's stage, essentially, and people are still singing along and things like that. It's really gratifying.
Glad to hear that. So, and going back to shows, this actually leads me to another question. I remember a day to remember in an interview, they were asked this question, and now I want to ask you guys: do you guys like sticking to playing at small venues and stuff like this, where you feel like you have a close connection to your fans, or would you like to kind of try more like bigger venues and bigger stages, so to reach out to a bigger crowd?
We do a little of both, and there are definitely pros and cons of both. For instance, we two of the biggest shows we played this year was we played outside of the TED and opened up for A Day to Remember, Pierce the Veil, The Wonder Years, and like those aren't my favorite bands or anything. I mean, I love The Wonder Years, but the rest of them are not my favorite bands or anything. But we got to play in front of a whole bunch of young kids that we have never met before and never played in front of before, so that was cool. And also we played with Less Than Jake at the Norva, and it was a 3-band bill, just Less Than Jake, Bad Fish, and us. We were the first band, and that was a pretty big show. So those two shows, some of the pros with that ones were those shows were that we played in front of people we never played in front of before, and there were brand new, fresh reactions. For instance, like we played with Pierce the Veil, Day to Remember, and we had like 5 or 6 random kids that you would see in Hot Topic, like just break out with the cat lunch. So we don't get a lot of that. So that was cool. And then we played with Less Than Jake, who's more punk, and we called for a circle pit and had the biggest circle pit we've ever had as a band. Like literally, Norva was pretty packed, and literally like it was the most beautiful sight I've ever seen in my life. Watching people circle pit to us from the stage of the Norva when we played with Less Than Jake last year.
Yeah.
So I enjoy playing the big stages. I also enjoy these small, intimate things because there's less rules, closer to your friends, and all the obvious.
And stage dogs.
Stage dogs, yeah. That's why smaller places are cool, definitely.
So you guys are, of course, a big part of this local Eastern Virginia scene we got going on here. What would you say is like you feel is like the best thing about what makes you proud to be from this scene? Take your time.
One thing that really makes me proud is that I feel like, I mean, I'm not involved in too many other scenes, but I feel like this is a really super talented scene. The whole kind of underground indie emo thing that's going on here with like The Great Dismal and Thanks and Dear Admas and Trustful and Safe Place, just a whole lot of really super tight bands live. And then you have our heavier scene, our hardcore scene in general has always been a very tight-knit unit, and that's always cool to see. Like, kids are always so stoked on hardcore shows, and our metal scenes. One more really cool thing we have going is we kind of have a metalcore scene going, and that, in my experience, has always done pretty well. Even back in the days with a band like We Were Gentlemen, who got pretty big at some point. And then, but now we have metalcore bands that are doing pretty well, and then we also have a whole another metal scene with thrash and death metal. We have bands like Combat Wombat, who are seem kind of thrashy to me, and then we have bands like Accident Prone, which they mix in a lot of the experimental elements, and so I like how diverse it is.
I mean, so it's like something for everyone, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
There's always going to be a show out there somewhere where you can enjoy music that you like. Even if it's like the indie scene or even like the country scene, if they call it a scene, people that enjoy that kind of music. There's people making music throughout the whole area. Enjoy music whenever.
All right, so a certain someone requested that I ask you this. So what would you say are some of your personal favorite local bands around here?
Some of my personal favorite local bands around here.
Free promotion, too.
I really enjoy I already mentioned the Great Dismal Lakes. I enjoy what they're doing. I enjoy Barabbas a lot. I've seen those kids grow up and they've come so far, and they're becoming a pretty tight unit. And so I dig that. I dig some of the other bands I want to mention are Reckoner. That band's amazing. Applaud the Impaler, super tight live. Paper Trail, they're a super tight live band. So those are pretty much my favorite.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, we listen to a lot of the same stuff. Like you mentioned before, Great D, they're great guys, great girl. And our brother band Accident Prone, we love them, they make great music. We have friends in a lot of different, genres.
Yeah.
Metalcore genre. Like the band Revenant, they're coming out. They have make good music, so they'll be out soon. And
All right. So next up, so if you could play a show with any band you want, and I'm gonna make it hard on you. I'm gonna limit it to just one band. If you could play a show with any one band you want, who would it be?
this is tough.
I know mine.
Jesse, what would be the band you'd want to play with?
Yeah, you did. Coheed.
Coheed.
Yeah.
He loves us some Coheed.
Outside yet? What? I said go outside yet?
Very diverse.
Any band.
You know what? After thinking about it, I think it would have to be Weezer, but they would only be allowed to play stuff up till the Green Album. And I mean, they have a couple good songs here or there. Like I don't want to be that snob and be like, oh well, they only have one good album or this good album. As a band, to have a career that long and make good music the whole time is really hard, and very few bands have done it. So if you have a couple flop albums, if you're a band for that long, that's fine. But yeah, Weezer would be awesome.
Yeah. I might choose who you were thinking out of there always. I'd probably say Anything, because they make good music and they put on good shows.
Definitely.
So probably all agree on that.
All right. So the last interview question. I have something afterwards. So where are some places you guys would love to tour more than anything?
Australia.
That's nice.
I'm not exactly looking forward to that because it's a long flight, but
Expensive too.
yeah. But I really want to go to Japan. It looks like they receive music really well, like every video I see of every different genre band is always successful. I can watch a hardcore set from a band like Expire or something, and people are just going crazy. And you can also look up a set of band Overboard going nuts, or you can even especially for bands like Dragon Force, because they love shred and stuff. But Dragon Force is huge over there, it seems like.
Yeah. Probably because their guitarist is.
Yeah. But I don't like to think that way, because I don't think we would be the biggest act if we played Africa.
What about you? What are some places you look?
Being a little bit more realistic, I'd like to tour like the California area, just because they're really receptive to music, especially punk rock. So
I mean, do you guys see yourselves ever making it to the West Coast on tours and stuff?
We were supposed to this summer, but some stuff fell through. So yeah, it'll definitely happen.
It's gonna happen.
Matter of time.
All right. So that's the last interview question, but we're not done yet. So each interview, for those that don't know, at the end of each interview, I have a little game. It's called "How many questions can you answer in 30 seconds?" So basically, I have a bunch of random questions. I'm not going to show you this; that would give you a head start. But yeah, like 20 questions, and just see how much you can get through. They're all basic, simple questions. Like, I mean, what's your favorite chips? What's your favorite this and that, and stuff like that. All right, so I'm gonna get to the timer I have on my phone.
Is this individual or is it as a whole?
That's yeah. The thing is, I mean, do you want to be a part of the game too?
Sure.
All right, so like we're gonna go like I'm gonna ask you, then you, and then you. So, another thing to note, the high score was 11 questions, and that band who holds it is Anatomy. But Anatomy is no longer around. That means you guys get to set the bar for the high score. So let's see how well you can do. All right, so I'm gonna start it. So you guys ready?
Yes.
All right. So I'm just gonna it's gonna be hard. I'm gonna be like pointing to all y'all as I ask the questions.
Let's do this.
All right. And go. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Pineapple.
What's your favorite vacation spot?
Keys.
Winter or summer?
Summer.
Favorite kind of bread?
Wheat.
Skateboards or bicycles?
Skateboards.
What's your favorite cartoon?
Doug.
Are you a morning person?
No.
PCs or Macs?
PC or Mac?
Oh, PC.
What's your favorite fast food joint?
Steak and Shake.
Time's up.
We kind of cheated on that last one. It's all good. So at first, for some reason, the first thing that came to mind was Cookout. I was like, I don't really eat Cookout anymore. So.
I got burnt out on that shit.
Cookout would have been cool, like way back a year ago.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm tallying it up. You guys answered 9 questions.
Cool.
9 questions. So in future interviews, we're gonna have to see if that high score holds up.
Alright.
Probably won't.
Yeah. That's kind of tough for people.
Yeah. So thank you, Conquering Rome, for taking the time to interview with me.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, I didn't meet you till later, but whatever.
Yeah, nice. For those of you watching, be sure to check out this band. Check out their new album, To Put Aside a Grudge, out now, and support them. Thank you for watching. All right.